order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. We are being broadcast live over Van Buren TV, Channel 12, and we are on YouTube right now also live. Deputy Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Frazier.
Here.
Trustee Kelly.
Here.
Trustee Martin.
Here.
Trustee Boynton is excused. Treasurer Budd. Here. Clerk Wright is excused. Supervisor McNamara.
Here. Thank you. An executive summary of what we're going to be going through today. We have a consent agenda which consists of our work study minutes, our meeting minutes, our board meeting minutes, our prepaid lists, our voucher list, basically paying our day-to-day bills. We also have approval of the reappointment of Harlan Davenport to the Board of Construction Code of Appeals with the term to expire on the 2029. We have approval of the reappointment of Denise Partridge to the Water and Sewer Commission with a term to expire in 2028. We have approval of an appointment of Christine McCarley, which we'll be calling back up a little later on. She's with Genesis Credit Union. She will be our newest member to our DDA board, and she will have a term which will expire on March 9th of 2029. We'll have approval of the reappointments of Joyce Rahoviak and Jessica Thomas and Valon Willis to the DDA board, and their terms will expire in 2030. Today, we will be having new business, which will include discussion of a resolution authorizing us to execute a legal services agreement related to a product liability litigation, PFAS. Discussion on the selection of an American fireworks company for the Van Buren Fireworks Show at a cost of about $25,000, and selection of SAK to provide sewer lining, sewer inspection and maintenance and rehabilitation for 3 years in the amount of not to exceed $500,000 annually. This is what keeps our infrastructure bulletproof in Van Buren. Discussion on the subrecipient agreement with Wayne County for the community development. We got another $400,000 grant, which we're putting into Haggerty Sub and to do ADA compliant sidewalks if the board should approve. And a second reading of an ordinance to add housing standards in accordance with Michigan's Housing Readiness Program. We're moving on to adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt this agenda?
Through the chair.
Oh, wait, yeah.
I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
I've got a motion by Trustee Kelly, supported by Treasurer Budd. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Next would be the adoption of the consent agenda. Who would like to read that?
Chair.
Trustee Martin.
I make a motion to adopt the consent agenda consisting of number 1, work study meeting minutes of March 3rd. Number 2, board meeting minutes of March 3rd. Number 3, prepaid list of March 5th. Number 4, prepaid list of March 12th. Number 5, voucher list of March 17th, all of 2026. Number 6, approval of the reappointment of Harlan Davenport to the Board of Construction Code of Appeals with a term to expire on February 28th, 2029. Number 7, approval of the reappointment of Denise Partridge to the Water and Sewer Commission with a term to expire on June 1st, 2028. Number 8, approval of the appointment of Christine McCarley to the DDA Board with a term to expire March 9th, 2029. And number 9, the approval of the reappointments of Joyce Rahoyak, Jessica Thomas, and Valon Willis to the DDA Board with terms to expire March 9th, 2030.
Thank you. Can I get a support?
Support.
Support by Trustee Kelly. Okay, I've got a motion by Trustee Martin and supported by Trustee Kelly. Hearing no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Today, we have no public hearings. We're going into correspondence announcements presentation. Mary, could you come up and introduce our newest DDA member and give us a little, Christine, would you like to say something? You're welcome too.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for appointing Christine McCauley from Genesis to the DDA Board. She is replacing a vacancy that we have. She has 37 years in the credit union industry, and with the wealth of knowledge that she has, she'll be a huge valuable resource to our small businesses along with the DDA Board for business and finance. And Genesis has been a very active business within the tri-community area. They recently partnered with the Belleville Area Chamber of Commerce to do sponsorships for new businesses looking to join the chamber. So with that, I'll turn it over to Christine.
I just wanted to say thank you. I'm very honored to be elected to this position, and I'm looking forward to helping make a difference within the community.
Could you come up and shake our hands? Because this is the one time we get to be nice to you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you serving.
That's right. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, well, thank you. Does anybody have any announcements? I have something I want to read, but, okay. So today we were notified that, in essence, the NDA is completely done. The only thing left on that NDA really was the name Google. Google is the company that's going to be taking over the operations. They're going to own that plant. They're going to finance it on their own. They're going to run it for their own business. We're very happy we didn't end up with a land lease kind of a scenario that has happened in so many other communities, where they're basically building and then looking for business. We've gone down that road before. It's a terrible way to live. If anybody has any questions about this site, our director, Ron Akers, and his staff have been amazing, and they've done an incredible job probably putting together the best frequently asked questions paper I've ever seen. And a lot of other comedians are saying that too. It's on our Van Buren Township homepage, and it is constantly upgraded as we get new questions. It's transparent, it's open, and it's fact-driven. This property is privately owned and zoned for industrial usage. Van Buren Township we have named industrial properties as the only place for data centers to go. This site has seen a lot of activity over the last few years, including warehousing, trucking requests, truck stops as being proposed for development. They are all legal uses. Van Buren is a community of 2-lane roads, and we are adamantly against high-volume trucking use. We are excited to have an environmentally friendly, quiet, low-traffic, and no trucking use coming to this location. We know this because we have gone out and visited an area with multiple hyper data centers. We have walked the site of one of the data centers that is owned by Google. We spoke with the locals, and they do not have sound issues there. We are also very excited to have a company that has a track record of being a good, ethical community partner. We have learned this from contacting other municipalities and school systems with Google centers in their area. They all speak very well of Google. In negotiations with Google, Google has agreed to everything we've asked them to do for us. They have put in 15-foot high berms with trees as high as 15 feet that will grow to 30 feet on the property lines. They have pushed back the buildings and put the cooling towers behind those buildings to mitigate off-site noise. They have agreed to eliminate light pollution. They are putting in $30 million in landscaping to beautify the area. The site, for the most part, will not have sight lines from the streets onto its operations. They have also agreed to install the Marley Ultra Quiet brand cooling towers, which we witness are very quiet, and we're told the quietest towers. We are told that was an 8-figure upgrade to the systems, but they've agreed to it. As far as environmental is concerned, this site is electric. It's essentially a building with computers in it. This site is electric, and the water is tap water going in, and it goes out to the sanitary sewer. Nothing is land applied or taken from the land. If they ever have a power, by the way, that is the way Sierra Club requests that they build these things, and they have followed those Sierra Club recommendations. If they ever have a power outage from their dual electric lines, they have 2 electric lines, one from ITC and one from a DTE, We have checked the history. In the last 10 years, those two lines, they only go back 10 years, those two lines have never gone out at the same time. If they ever do, they do have generators on site. They are low sulfur diesel. They are level 4 EPA generators, but they are also building off-site battery backup, which will not be located within Van Buren Township. I'm not, people want me to beat up on this data center group and kick Google, but I can tell you, they've done everything we've asked. They could have forced this situation, but they did not. They did everything we asked in an effort to be a good community partner, and for that, I am thankful. I openly welcome Google to our community. Thank you. Anybody else want to have anything to say? Okay, and we're opening up to public comment now. Public comment for anything on today's business. Does anybody have any public comment? Hearing no. We're moving on to unfinished business, which we have none. New business. Begin with a discussion on to consider approval of Resolution 2605, authorizing execution of a legal services agreement related to PFAS AAFF product liability litigation. Can I get a motion?
Through the chair,
Trustee Kelly.
I move to consider approval of Resolution 2026-05, authorizing execution of the legal services agreement related to the AFFF product liability litigation.
Thank you. Treasurer Bud. Today we have supervisor for life, so.
You're never an ex-supervisor,
Now,
right?
Supervisor of Plymouth Township, Kurt Heisey. Go ahead.
Well, thanks for having me here tonight. I'm a recovering politician, but I'm also still an attorney, and I'm with the Mavesey Law Firm, and we're in downtown Plymouth. And sometime last year, I was contacted by a law firm in New Orleans called Stagg Liuzza. And the Stagg Liuzza Law Firm is a nationally recognized firm specializing in mass tort environmental litigation. They handled the BP oil spill many years ago, for example. So they have the expertise that is necessary to handle this kind of large-scale environmental settlement. So what's happened is we have this, for what we call a forever chemical called PFAS. And it is the main ingredient that was in firefighting foam, fire extinguishers, certain types of firefighting equipment, and also in household items like Teflon plates and frying pans and things like that. PFAS is no longer manufactured in this country, but again, it's what we would call a forever chemical. It's kind of like asbestos. And again, another type of chemical that is not good for us and is something that is no longer in production. But much like asbestos, litigation has begun against the major manufacturers of PFAS. And so this litigation is not over yet, but there has been a major settlement in the federal court in South Carolina where 3M and some of the other manufacturers agreed to a $13 billion settlement fund, a pot, if you will. Again, it's very similar to what we encountered, Mr. Supervisor, at the local level with the opioid settlements, where the big pharma was sued and local governments ended up getting funding from the settlements. So what has happened is the federal court has deemed us all, we cannot sue. We cannot sue 3M. We cannot sue these big manufacturers of PFAS. Because if that happened, you'd have hundreds of thousands of lawsuits around the country, and these companies would be totally out of business. So in order to have a reasonable settlement, the federal court basically said, you have to set up these the settlement fund, but in return, water providers are immune from suing 3M and these other companies. So what happened in Southeast Michigan is very unique. We are all customers of the GLWA, Great Lakes Water Authority. They dropped the ball, and they should have filed. They should have opted in to this settlement. They no doubt would have received, we estimate at least 150 to $200 million. We could have haggled over that, you know, afterwards, because we've certainly had our issues with GLWA using our money without our knowledge. So that battle's not going to happen because they did not file. And we found out through our meetings with them, they admitted that they did not file, and now they are working with us to do all the necessary testing that's necessary that's required by the courts. So what we're doing right now, what my law firm is doing is I am co-counsel to the law firm in New Orleans. And what we're doing now is trying to round up as many of the GLWA communities as possible to enter into this settlement. So the numbers that we're looking at, again, you cannot make any guarantees, but we're figuring between $35 to $50 per resident per community. So, you know, you can do the math here, and it's certainly well worth pursuing. The one thing I want to make clear, because we get this question all the time, is our drinking water safe? And it is. I'm in Plymouth Township, right down the street, and we all have to do our annual water quality reports. We get that information from the GLWA. Well, and sometimes we do our own testing if it's necessary. But in our case, with this PFAS litigation, we are looking at the source of the water. We're not looking at the water that's coming out of your tap. The water coming out of your tap is clean, it's safe. I drink it all the time. The water that is being looked at legally is how many parts per trillion of PFAS can be found in the source water of the GLWA. So you're looking at Lake Huron, Lake St. Clair, and the Detroit River. The Detroit River is where we know that PFAS exists. So we are advocating on your behalf, because if GLWA had filed, if they had opted into this litigation, to this settlement, I wouldn't be here tonight. They'd be doing all this on our behalf. So they are helping us as far as the data gathering, as far as the research that has to be done on the water quality issues. So there's no testing that we have to do, no testing that you have to do. There's really no cost to you at all in joining this settlement. Settlement checks should be coming out, I'm being told, by the end of the year. And it's really just, I hate to say free money, but it's as close as you can get. It's really the manufacturer's way of saying we're sorry, and we don't want you to sue us, so we're going to effectively give you funds to make you go away and leave them alone. Now, there are going to be other settlements in the future. In the next 2 to 3 years, you have other manufacturers that are going to be suing. That are going to be settling, and so we're looking at possibly other funds down the road. We're also unique again in southern Wayne County and Wayne County about the wastewater treatment facilities. So the downriver system, which you're a part of, we're in discussions with them right now. I'm in discussions with Yucca right now in Ypsilanti, and we are representing the GLWA on their wastewater phase, which is going to be a future phase of this settlement that'll be aimed at wastewater and how wastewater treatment plants have to deal with PFAS. Metro Airport has already hired a law firm out of New York to represent them on this issue, and that would no doubt obviously is going to involve Willow Run as well. Otherwise, I highly recommend that we pursue this, and again, there's no cost to you in terms of litigation, monitoring, testing, or anything of the sort.
Questions? It's pretty straightforward, I think.
Yeah.
We did get into the opioid one and kind of worked out well for us, still is. So would this check, would this be a settlement that would be paid off basically in a bulk sum, or is it gonna be one that's filtered through for years?
Hard to say. I think it would come more in a bulk form than what we saw with the opioid situation. I see it as a bulk form, and then in future years, it might get another bulk check from future settlements that may arise. And there's no strings attached. Money can go into your general fund. It's not earmarked for DPW or water or sewer. You can spend it as you wish.
Okay. No questions? Thank you. We're gonna take a vote, I guess.
Okay.
All right, I have a motion by trustee Kelly and supported by treasurer Bud to authorize going forward with litigation. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Heisey.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Are you happy St. Patrick's Day?
Thank you. Yeah, it will be. Well, now I hope. All right. Next item is discussion on and to consider approval of the selection of American Fireworks Company, as usual, to do the 26th Van Buren Township Fireworks Show on June 27th at a cost of approximately $25,000. Ms. Garrett.
Good evening, Board. On behalf of the Recreation Department, we are recommending that the Van Buren Township approves.
Could you hold on a second? Trustee Martin reminded me that I forgot something. Can I get a motion?
Chair, I make a motion that we participate with the 25,000 for America fireworks.
Thank you.
Support.
Support, Bud? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Director.
Okay. On behalf of the Recreation Department, we are recommending that the Van Buren Township award or sign the contract with the Van Buren Fireworks Company as the selected vendor, as they have provided an excellent fireworks show as in the past 3 years. They were the best bidder, coming at a barrage of 2,950 total barrage. If you look in your packet, it's an overall fireworks show. This is a unique situation because we say how much money we are asking to bid for, and then they come back and say how much they are going to be able to give the show. And they came out with the best show.
We do it every year. So, and it's a hell of a show now with 25,000. It got a little lame there at 10. But yeah, it's a great show. Okay, I have a motion by trustee Frazier and supported by treasurer Bud. Does anybody else want to have a discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Thank you very much, Director. Item 3, discussion on and to consider approval of a selection of SAK to provide sewer lining, sewer inspection, maintenance, and rehabilitation needs for a period of 3 years with an option to extend for an additional 2 years at a cost not to exceed $500,000 annually. Director Lawrence, could you, oh, wait, can I get a motion?
Through the chair.
Trustee Kelly.
I move to consider approval of the selection of SAK to provide sewer lining, sewer inspection, maintenance, and rehabilitation needs for a period of 3 years with an option to extend an additional 2 years at a cost not to exceed $515,000 annually.
Okay, go ahead, Director Lawrence.
Good evening. SAK proposed to honor the terms and conditions of competitive bidding and award agreement for sewer lining program. In adopting this as-needed agreement, the township obtains their full ability to and resources to address any sewer inspection, maintenance, and rehabilitation needs for a period of 3 years, with the addition option up to 2 additional years. The offer includes maintaining unit prices listed for the full duration of the agreement. We have completed our 4-year, we've completed 4 years of the 7-year CCTV program and plan to allocate the funds towards the capital sewer relining, towards sewer lining and repair in those areas. I did reach out to Fishback. They're very familiar with SAK, and they have done a lot of work with them over the years. They're a very reputable company, and they're currently working with 9 other communities within Wayne County. So I recommend approval of this sewer lining program.
Any questions? It's what I did for 15 years. It was probably the largest sewer lining contractor in the state. I can tell you that communities that do this don't have problems. I mean, they don't end up with broken sewers. They don't end up with messes. They have bulletproof infrastructure, and they keep their costs down low because it's a heck of a lot cheaper to line a sewer that's falling apart than it is to wait for it to fall apart and then basically go in and try and dig up half the world, including driveways and roads and things like that, to replace them. We are behind in our capital improvement program, mostly because of COVID, which kind of stopped all work. And so this is kind of a little bit of a bigger number than we usually get, but we're trying to play catch up, and we do have the money in the bank. So that's my 2 cents. Does anybody else have a question? Okay, I have a motion by trustee Kelly and supported by treasurer Bud. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. This motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item is discussion and to consider approval of subrecipient agreement between Wayne County and Van Buren Township for another grant for Haggerty Sub. Can I get a motion?
To the chair. I make a motion to consider approval of the subrecipient agreement between Wayne County and Van Buren Township for a community development block grant award for sidewalk ramps in Haggerty Sub.
Second? Support. Kelly? Director Akers?
Thank you. So in 2025, the township applied for a grant through the Wayne County CDBG program to install handicap accessible sidewalk ramps in Haggerty subdivision. We were recently notified that we were awarded the grant in the amount of $412,500, and before you is a request to approve the agreement between Wayne County and the township for the project. This will be the second sidewalk project we have worked on in Haggerty subdivision, with the first being the sidewalk repair program a few years back. There will be ADA compliant sidewalk ramps installed at each intersection throughout the entire subdivision. This grant will be a reimbursement-based grant, and we have a proposal from Fishback prepare the bid packages for the April 7th Township Board meeting. Our project timeline will have the project out to bid this summer and the work being performed in late summer, early fall this year. So before you, we have all the submittals from Fishback, where we had taken a look in the areas that we had considered for sidewalk ramps and the type of ramps, the draft agreement with the county, and the last comment I want to make is that this contract was reviewed by our township attorney, and they did recommend moving forward with it. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
When we did the sidewalks, we did not do the ADA ramps because we determined that they would be too expensive to do. We then went after money in grant form, and we obviously received it, or are receiving it. And we're trying to help as much as possible in that community, and all communities, but that one in particular. This will follow up the sidewalk program that the township board helped facilitate a lot of that money through engineering, design, management, and picking up all the extra flags, sections of sidewalk that were in dispute of whose ownership they were. We have recently rebuilt last year. We'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony for that community's new park that we just rebuilt, and now these ADA ramps. Any questions? No? Okay, I've got a motion by trustee Martin, and it's been supported by trustee Kelly. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Thank you, Director Akers.
Thank you.
Next item, this is a law which will require a voice vote or whatever, roll call. This is a discussion on and to consider approval of a second reading of an ordinance, which is a zoning ordinance amendment to add housing standards in accordance with Michigan's housing readiness. Can I have a motion and read it?
Chair,
Trustee Kelly.
I move to consider approval of the second reading of ordinance 030326, which is a zoning ordinance amendment to add housing standards in accordance with the MSHDA Housing Readiness Program.
Can I have a second?
Support.
Treasurer Bud. Busy today. Okay, Dr. Akers.
Thank you. This is the second reading of this ordinance. We discussed it at the last board meeting where we had Donovan Smith from McKenna and Associates present. At this time, I'm happy to answer any additional questions if the board has them.
Could you give an overview real quick?
Sure. So the township received a $50,000 grant from the Michigan State Housing Development Authority to look at the different styles or different types of housing that we permit within our zoning district and come up with some solutions to meet certain goals that the MISTA and the state had with regards to encouraging additional housing, promoting development that allows for various housing types, and accomplishes goals that align with the state of Michigan housing plan. So as a part of that, we did a number of, or planners did a lot of research on the matter and came up with a couple different recommendations. Those two recommendations were different zoning district, which do allow for different multiple family housing, duplexes, quads, or 4-unit buildings, and in various areas within the township. So the first one that they established was something called the MROD, or the Mixed Residential Overlay District. Essentially what that does is it creates some standards in our zoning code to allow a developer, if they so choose, to drop residential developments in commercial districts or office technology district. There are stipulations in there which look at the types and the mixing the types and the design standards of those residential developments, but it does give the ability for somebody to come in and build more housing and expand the areas in our community where you can build housing. In addition to that, they did create a new zoning district, which is the Mixed Residential District. And that Mixed Residential District does a lot of the same things, where it does allow for a mixture and diverse housing types within the community. This residential district can be used in various areas where they do have challenges or they do want to promote housing, and some of those examples were looked at as part of the planning and development process. But essentially, it creates an opportunity to develop more and different, diverse types of housing within the township.
Okay, any questions? I have a motion by Trustee Kelly and supported by Treasurer Bud. Deputy Clerk, could you call a roll?
Trustee Martin?
Yes.
Trustee Kelly?
Yes.
Trustee Frazier?
Yes.
Treasurer Bud?
Yes.
Supervisor McNamara?
Yes. Thank you, motion passes. We are now into the public comments section of our agenda. We accept public comment on any item that anybody wishes to speak on. Anybody wish to speak? Yep, come on up.
Everybody.
Hey.
I prepared somewhat of a speech. It's my first time attending a board meeting. I understand that I'm a little bit late to the party because I'm going to be talking about the ICE detention center that a company has bought and intends to build a detention center here in Van Buren.
No. They're building in Romulus.
They bought another one, and they bought one.
Yes, they did. We're not, but
There's been a moratorium, correct?
there is a moratorium.
I said moratorium.
Yeah,
Yes.
correct. Go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to be clear that I'm not trying to incite violence.
Okay.
But I may use some harsh rhetoric, some surprising words and language. So, hello everyone.
Hi.
My name is David Guernsey. I'm 22 years old, and I've been living in Michigan nearly my whole life. Van Buren the last 10 years. American society is collapsing around us. This is the reality of the situation. While I cannot do anything to stop the Epstein class from bombing 160 children in a little girl's school over in Iran, I can sure as hell stand up against the SS building a concentration camp here in our town. I will save the begging and the pleading as it falls on deaf ears. I live in a trailer park surrounded by white trash, black trash, brown trash, and all the other type of people that have been thrown into these ghettos that we call mobile home parks. What happens when you throw all of these people from different cultures in the same place is they eventually realize the enemy is not each other, but the people who have thrown them in that place. We will get armed and start patrolling our neighborhoods, protecting our children and our neighbors, as the Black Panther Party did for young black men and women 50 years ago. You have ultimately left us no choice. So the choice is yours, and this is for the future. Allow this detention center to be built, and we'll be forced to arm ourselves against the insurgent force. Or choose humanity, community, and each other, and help us resist peacefully by not allowing this concentration camp to be built in our town. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak at this point in time? No? Is there any board member that wishes to make any comments on anything? No? No? Okay, call for adjournment. Can I get a motion? Got a motion, got a second?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay, I got Treasurer Bud, Will Frazier. No discussion, all in favor? Aye, opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.